Okay, next dia bagi tahu in an experiment 0.1 gram of H2. So this gonna be the mass of H2. Okay. An excess of oxygen were compressed and placed into a calorimeter with heat capacity of 9.08 times 10 to the power of 4 joules per degree Celsius. So calorimeter punya heat capacity. So this gonna be heat capacity of calorimeter. So this is C besar, C besar, C. Okay, C besar maksudnya heat capacity lah. And then bagi tu initial temperature was 25. Finally it increased to 25.155. So kalau this final minus initial is going to be delta T. Okay. So orang cakap calculate the amount of heat release in the reaction to form H2O and you need to express it in kilojoules per mole. Okay. Kat sini dia suruh kamu cari heat release in the reaction to form H2O. Maksudnya dia suruh kamu cari apa tu? Dia suruh kamu cari enthalpy of formation. Sebab dia kata to form H2O kan. So dia suruh kamu cari enthalpy of formation of H2O. So sekarang ni apa yang you tahu kalau let's say you have symbol delta HF H2O. What do you know by this? Apa maksud enthalpy of formation? Enthalpy of formation maksudnya when 1 mole of a substance is formed from its element. So kerana H2O ni kena berada di bahagian produk. H2O berada di bahagian produk. So when 1 mole of H2O is formed from its element, kan? So element ada dua kat sini, H dan juga O. So you ada hydrogen plus oxygen. Since yang ni kena 1 mole, don't forget the phase here. This one ialah gas. Ni pun gas sebab hydrogen elemen dia ialah gas, oxygen elemen dia pun gas. This one kena 1 mole. Wajib 1 mole, so you jangan sentuh ni. To balance the chemical equation, it's gonna be 1/2 O2. So soalan suruh kamu cari enthalpy of formation. Macam nak cari enthalpy of formation? Untuk cari enthalpy of formation in joules per mole melalui calorimeter, it's gonna be Q reaction bahagikan dengan number of mole. Number of mole siapa? Kalau enthalpy of formation maksudnya dia suruh cari enthalpy of formation of H2O, maksudnya dia suruh kamu cari number of mole of H2O. So this gonna be number of mole of H2O. Sebab itulah dia bagi kamu mass of hydrogen gas. So bila dia bagi mass of hydrogen gas, you bolehlah cari dia punya Dia punya number of mole of the hydrogen gas. Once you have found the number of mole of hydrogen gas, macam nak cari number of mole of hydrogen gas? Mass bahagikan dengan molar mass. Molar mass of hydrogen berapa? Kalikan dengan 2. Alright. So once you have found the number of mole of hydrogen, bolehlah you find the number of mole of H2O because 1 mole of hydrogen gas is equivalent to the 1 mole of H2O. Alright. So once you have found the number of mole of H2O, and then you dah jumpa the heat of the reaction, barulah you boleh dapat the heat of formation in kilojoules per mole. Kiranya number of mole tu milik siapa? Milik H2O. And then untuk kira heat release by the reaction, you tahu kan heat released by the reaction is equals to heat absorbed by the surrounding. In this case, since that dia hanya bagi surrounding tu, dia hanya bagi calorimeter, tak ada langsung information of water ya. In this case, you should know dia tak ada info of water langsung. So bila soalan dia tak bagi info on water langsung, so you should assume that the heat absorbed by surrounding hanyalah berdasarkan calorimeter sahaja. So heat released by the reaction is equal to heat absorbed by surrounding. And then apakah formula heat absorbed by surrounding ni? Kalau melibatkan calorimeter, tiada mass of calorimeter, it's gonna be equals to C besar, C kecil, delta T. Okay, C besar ni adalah heat capacity of calorimeter sebab dia tak bagi tahu langsung mass of calorimeter, and specific dia bagi tahu heat capacity. Kat sini dia bagi heat capacity of calorimeter, which C besar. Okay, so this is gonna be the formula that you will be using to find the heat absorbed by the surrounding calorimeter tu lah. Okay, and the second step that you need to do ialah find and calculate the heat release of formation. Once you have found the heat release by the reaction and also the number of mole siapa? Number of mole of H2O. Okay, so the heat released by the reaction is equal to heat absorbed by the surrounding. In this case, the surrounding mentioned hanyalah calorimeter. There's no water at all, and calorimeter yang digunakan pun dia tak mention langsung pasal mass and specific heat capacity of calorimeter. Therefore, you have to use this equation to find the heat released by the reaction. Okay, you have to use the formula of the heat absorbed by calorimeter. And then from the information given, information bagi heat capacity of calorimeter and delta T. Delta T can be found when you subtract bila you tolak final dengan initial temperature. And after you akan dapatlah you punya heat of reaction ialah 1.41 times 10 to the power of 4 joules. Memang you dapat jawapan in positive, memang. Okay. And then memang you dapat jawapan pun in joules and positive. Tapi in this case, dia bagi tahu heat release by the reaction, therefore you need to put the negative sign in front. Because heat release, dia punya sign ialah negative. And also, how do you get the kilo? Because we dividekan this by 1000. Okay, next step, to find and calculate the heat released in the reaction to form H2O. Bermaksud, dia suruh kamu find and calculate delta enthalpy of formation for H2O. So ingat balik, apakah maksud standard enthalpy of formation? Ataupun in this case, it's not happening at standard condition. So you ingat sahajalah, because this one, dia tak happen in standard condition. So just padam je lah anything yang related to standard condition. This is maksud enthalpy of formation. Maksudnya the heat change when 1 mole of a compound. Compound tersebut siapa? Compound tersebut ialah H2O. Compound is formed. Form maksudnya benda tu berada di produk. So, you tulis dulu H2O. Okay. This is the compound yang form. Apakah elemen dia? Elemen dia berada di bahagian produk lah. Okay, so elemen dia, you tengok kat sini you ada hydrogen, you ada oxygen. Element of hydrogen, hydrogen ni kalau dia berada di dalam elemen dia, it should be in gas form. So kalau if it's in gas form, it is H2 gas. Okay. Oxygen dia pula, kalau dia berada di dalam elemen dia, dia adalah oxygen. So kalau dia oxygen ni berada dalam oxygen form, dia tak akan O sahaja, dia kena molecule oxygen, this is in a gas form. And since that, dia kata heat change when 1 mole of a compound is formed. So you jangan usik number of mole of the H2O when you want to balance this chemical equation. Okay, you hanya kacau bahagian reactant saja untuk balancekan, this kena remain 1 mole. So therefore, hydrogen ada 2, oxygen ada 1 kat sini. So you just letak 1/2 sahaja di hadapan oxygen element ni, okay? And then you kena build a thermochemical equation. Lepas you dah build a balanced chemical equation, untuk build thermochemical equation, you kena letak delta H kat belakang. Delta H apa? Delta HF. This is something that you have to find. Okay, since that dia kata amount of heat release. Kalau heat release, dah sah-sah lah, dia punya sign tu kena negatif. Negative, and then the formula to find the enthalpy of formation, melalui calorimeter, you have to find the heat release in direction di dalam calorimeter. So that means Q reaction bahagikan dengan number of mole yang terlibat. Number of mole in this case, if you look at the punya definition, when 1 mole of a compound is formed, kiranya you will ambil number of mole apa ni? Number of mole of H2O. Okay? So this is actually the common formula bila soalan suruh kamu cari enthalpy yang melibatkan calorimeter. Okay, di mana enthalpy is equals to Q reaction. Q reaction adalah heat release in the reaction in the calorimeter, which you know that heat reaction yang release in the calorimeter is equals to heat absorbed by the surrounding. In this case, surrounding dia hanyalah calorimeter, and you dah kira pun tadi, so you just masukkan ke atas ni. And next ialah you need to find the number of mole of H2O. To find the number of mole of H2O, since that the soalan hanya bagi information kepada hydrogen gas, so you masukkan saja, and then dia bagi dalam bentuk gram. So you tahu kalau you nak cari number of mole yang melibatkan gram, it's gonna be mass bahagikan dengan molar mass of hydrogen gas. Okay, kenapa 2? Because 2 kalikan dengan molar mass of hydrogen, okay, hydrogen atom. So mass bagi molar mass, and you will get the number of mole of H2 ialah 0.0496 mol. Ini adalah number of mole of H2. Okay, this is number of mole of H2 gas. This is not number of mole of H2O gas yet. But if you nak, memanglah you tahu, memanglah ratio dia 1 to 1. Tapi you tak boleh leave it as it is kat sini, okay. Jangan sampai sini je. Jangan sampai sini sahaja. Okay. Jangan. You kena buat stoichiometric to show that number of mole of H2O ialah 0.0496 mol. Okay. So you kena buat stoichiometric punya comparison. You know that number of mole of hydrogen gas is equivalent to number of mole of H2O. Therefore, number of mole of H2O will be 0.0496 mol. Okay, ni barulah 1 markah. Sebab apa? You buat stoichiometric comparison. Kalau kat sini, you berhenti kat sini saja. This is not number of mole of. Orang takkan bagi markah kat you. Because you stop sampai sini. You just kira number of mole of hydrogen gas. But you don't mention the next. Kalau you tak mention the next step, then you will not get the marks here. So you need to mention the next step to show that you tahu sebenarnya. Memanglah you tahu by heart diorang ni stoichiometric coefficient is 1 to 1, but then you need to show. Okay, you need to show how you get number of mole of H2O. So tak boleh berhenti sampai sini je. Macam mana nak show? You buat stoichiometric comparison. Next ialah the amount of heat release in the reaction to form H2O. Okay, we know that this is the basic formula untuk enthalpy, untuk cari enthalpy melalui calorimeter, di mana Q reaction ni ialah heat release from the reaction, and then kena bahagikan dengan number of mole, because heat release from the reaction unit dia ialah joules. Okay, unit dia ialah joules, tapi in this case you dah kira in kilojoules kan, so bolehlah kilojoules. And then number of mole of H2O pun ialah 0.0496. Okay, and then you will get the enthalpy of formation of H2O in this case ialah negative 284 kilojoules per mole. Okay, kalau soalan yang melibatkan suruh kamu cari enthalpy, you tulis balik ni. Okay, tulis balik thermochemical equation ni. Okay, and then letaklah value of your enthalpy of formation yang you have found. Memanglah kat sini dia bagi tahu heat release in reaction to form H2O kan. Tapi maksudnya kat sini ialah dia suruh kamu cari heat of formation lah, ataupun enthalpy of formation. Okay, next example dia bagi kat sini a quantity of 100 ml volume molarity of acid is mixed with volume molarity of base NaOH in a constant pressure calorimeter. Constant pressure calorimeter ni ialah simple calorimeter lah. Okay. Kalau simple calorimeter, bila you nak kira heat released by the reaction in a simple calorimeter, mestilah it's going to be equals to heat absorbed by the solution by the water pluskan dengan heat absorbed by the calorimeter. Okay. And dia bagi tahu calorimeter tu. Okay. The calorimeter tersebut ada heat capacity. So, heat capacity tu ialah C besar, C kecil. C besar ni ialah heat capacity. C ni menunjukkan tu adalah calorimeter lah. So, this value ialah untuk heat capacity of calorimeter. And then dia bagi tu initial temperature dan final temperature. So, from these two, okay, bila you minuskan these two, you akan dapat delta T. Soalan suruh kamu cari heat change for the neutralization reaction. Soalan suruh kamu cari heat change. Okay, heat change untuk neutralization reaction. Heat change untuk neutralization reaction tu dia punya simbol tu adalah, simbol dia ialah delta Hn. Dia suruh kamu cari delta Hn. Macam mana cari delta Hn? Delta Hn, heat of neutralization, nak cari enthalpy, is gonna be equals to Q reaction bahagikan dengan number of mole. Okay. Nak tahu number of mole ni, you kena hafal apa maksud heat of neutralization. Heat of neutralization ni ialah when 1 mole of a water is produced from the neutralization of acid and base. Therefore, number of mole ni milik siapa? Number of mole ni milik H2O. And then next, how can you find the, and since that heat of neutralization ni, ataupun enthalpy of neutralization ni, dia kata heat release. So bila heat, by definition dia kata heat release, so you kena dapat jawapan you negative. Also that, although bila you kira-kira, mestilah you dapat jawapan you positive, because everything here positive, tak ada satu pun negatif. Tapi sign negatif ni, kenapa you letak sign negatif? Because dia kata heat release. Okay. And next, macam mana nak cari heat of the reaction, heat released by the reaction ataupun Q reaction ni. Heat released by the reaction ni, you boleh dapat daripada ni. Heat released by the reaction is equals to heat absorbed by the solution ataupun heat absorbed by the water plus calorimeter. Okay, solution ni siapa? Solution ni lah. Acid dengan base ni. Okay, so it's going to be Q reaction is equals to Q cal plus Q water. So, what is the formula heat absorbed by calorimeter? In this case, sebab soalan ni dia tak mention langsung pasal mass of calorimeter ataupun specific capacity, dia mention pasal heat capacity. Therefore, the formula untuk heat absorbed by the calorimeter ni ialah C besar, heat capacity of calorimeter kalikan dengan delta T. Okay, untuk heat absorbed by the water ataupun solution ni, okay, dia punya formula dia is gonna be mass of water ataupun solution, specific heat capacity of water ataupun solution, delta T. Okay, nanti you dapatlah you punya heat of reaction. Nak cari number of mole of water macam mana, nanti Miss bagi tahulah. Okay, so here's the solution. First of all, you cari dulu the heat released by the reaction in the calorimeter. So to find it, you can use this formula. Heat released by the reaction in the calorimeter is equal to the heat absorbed by the surrounding. The surrounding dia ialah calorimeter plus solution ataupun water lah. Okay. Okay, so it's going to be Q reaction is equals to Q cal plus QW. Q cal ni ialah heat absorbed by the calorimeter, which is C besar. C besar tu lah heat capacity. Since that the information given hanyalah on the heat capacity of the calorimeter, kalikan dengan delta T. Delta T ni something that you can calculate. And then QW ni ialah heat absorbed by the solution ataupun water, where MW ni ialah mass of the water ataupun mass of the solution, kalikan dengan CW, heat capacity of the water. In this case, since that dia tak bagi tahu pun heat capacity of the solution, you can safely assume that, okay, assume that the specific heat capacity of solution is equals to specific heat capacity of water, since that dia tak bagi. Okay. Lepas tu also the mass ni, okay, so you can pun kena assume that the density of water is equals to the density of solution, sebab dia tak bagi juga. Alright. And then kalikan dengan delta T. So from the information given, the heat capacity of calorimeter ialah 335 joules per degree Celsius. Mass of water ataupun mass of solution lah. Kat dalam ni, kita letak solution apa? Kita letak solution HCl dalam kamu punya calorimeter tu lah. You letak solution HCl pluskan dengan NaOH. HCl ialah acid, NaOH ialah base. Okay. So, berapa volume HCl? 100. Okay. Volume HCl yang diberi ialah 100 ml. NaOH pun 100 ml. Okay. To find dorang punya mass ni, kita dah assume that the density of the water is equals to the density of the solution. Solution HCl dengan NaOH. Kita tahu density of water, okay, density of water is equals to 1 gram per milliliter. Right. Okay, and then this one is from HCl, this one is from NaOH. Okay, and after that milliliter akan cancel out dengan per milliliter, and what's left ialah gram. So the mass of the solution HCl pluskan dengan NaOH ni is gonna be 200 gram. Okay. And then next ialah specific capacity. Since that the question tak bagi you the specific heat capacity of solution, so you assume that the specific heat capacity of solution is equals to the specific heat capacity of water, which is 4.18 joules per gram per degree Celsius. After that, you masukkan saja all of the information given in the formula, in the equation. Okay, lepas tu kan heat release by duration. Suppose you dapat jawapan positif sebenarnya. Tapi because kat sini, in this case dia kata heat release by duration. Lepas tu tambah pula dia suruh kamu cari delta Hn kan. Delta Hn ni ialah heat of neutralization, is where one mole heat release when 1 mole of H2O is from the neutralization of acid dengan base. Okay, so that's why walaupun you dapat jawapan mu positif, memang tak mungkinlah you dapat jawapan negatif, because all of the values here akan show result kamu positif. But then because this is the heat release, this one, okay, this negative sign ni just untuk symbolizekan heat release saja ya. Okay. And then you akan dapat, wajib lah dapat jawapan you in joules. Okay, memang wajib dapat jawapan in joules. So, tapi kalau let's say you nak ubah dia in kilojoules, just bahagi saja dengan 1000 and you will get 2.81 kilojoules. And you letak negatif kat sini again because of why? Kenapa you letak negatif? Sebab untuk menunjukkan the heat release by duration. Okay, second step, find and calculate the enthalpy of neutralization. Okay, so build the thermochemical equation of the enthalpy of neutralization. Okay, macam mana you tahu dia suruh cari enthalpy of neutralization? Sebab dalam soalan dia mention pasal suruh kamu cari amount of heat of neutralization, kan? That is delta Hn lah. So delta Hn, and it is not even happening at standard condition. So kalau dia tak happen in standard condition, memanglah dia punya definition ni, definition dia memanglah macam ni kan, standard enthalpy of neutralization. This is standard, but if it's not happening at standard condition, so you just strip off perkataan standard je lah. Okay, strip off the bulat kat atas tu, strip off the standard condition. Okay, so what's left ialah enthalpy of neutralization. So enthalpy of neutralization, kalau dia tak happen in standard condition, sama juga dia punya maksud dia. Okay, which is maksud dia yang kita dah discuss in subtopic 2.1 is Heat release when 1 mole of water is formed from the neutralization of acid and base. Okay. So sekarang ni heat release when 1 mole of water is formed. Okay, memang pun kalau let's say you ada acid campurkan dengan base, memang you akan form salt plus water kan. Cumanya in this case you just isikan apakah acid tersebut. Okay. So apakah acid yang you gunakan in this case? Acid yang you guna in this case ialah HCl. Apa dia punya phase? Aqueous. Untuk build thermochemical equation wajib letak phase ya. HCl. Dia punya base apa? Base NaOH. What is phase of NaOH? Aqueous. And then you akan dapat salt. NaCl, salt, solid, and then H2O liquid. And thermochemical equation tak sah kalau tak ada enthalpy change kat hujung ni ya. So enthalpy change ni adalah enthalpy change untuk neutralization. So you letak saja N kecil kat bawah ni equals to berapa? Dia kena in kilojoules per mole. So you kena express dia in kilojoules per mole. So this is something that you need to find. How can you find this out? Macam mana you boleh dapat ni? You boleh dapat ni melalui this formula, di mana to find the enthalpy of reaction melalui calorimeter is going to be heat release from the reaction overkan dengan number of mole yang terlibat dalam case neutralization ni, since that dia kata when 1 mole of water is formed. Okay, so that means number of mole tu kena number of mole of water. That's why you buat bahagikan terus dengan number of mole of water, because dalam definition dah cakap heat release when 1 mole of water is formed. Okay, so terus number of mole of water. Okay, sekarang ni how can you find the number of mole of water? How? You can find the number of mole of water melalui info yang diberikan on HCl dengan NaOH. So you carilah number of mole of HCl, cari number of mole of NaOH. Nasib baik sama. Okay. Kalau sama tak apa. Okay. Kalau sama you punya number of mole of acid dengan base, you can say that number of mole of H2O is equivalent to the number of mole of HCl is equivalent to the number of mole of NaOH. Okay? Kalau tak sama macam mana? Kalau tak sama, ambil number of mole mana-mana yang kecil. Then comparekan dengan H2O. Okay. Kalau tak sama, ambil mana-mana number of mole yang kecil. Kalau sama, jackpot, senang je. Number of mole of H2O ni will be just the same dengan number of mole of HCl dengan NaOH. Okay. Tapi you tak boleh stop sampai sini je. You kena buktikan you dapat number of mole. Kalau let's say lah, you dah cari dengan ni, you terus masuk kat sini. Tak boleh. Tak boleh sayang, cannot. You kena mention dia from equation. Number of moles of H2O is equivalent to number of mole of HCl. Therefore, number of mole of H2O is equals to 0.05 mole. Baru dah dapat satu markah because you mention, okay, you mention jalan kerja untuk cari number of mole of H2O. And then to find the heat of neutralization is going to be equals to delta enthalpy of neutralization is equals to Q reaction. Q reaction ni heat release from the reaction, which is negative 2.81 kilojoules, bahagikan dengan number of mole of water, which is 0.05 mole. Nanti you akan dapatlah jawapan you in kilojoules per mole. Okay, since that soalan suruh kamu find the enthalpy of neutralization, you dah build the thermochemical for the enthalpy of neutralization. So you just salin balik and then masukkan nilai enthalpy of neutralization. Okay, ni. Okay, after that you bolehlah test yourself by doing this question. Okay, kat sini dia bagi kamu information on the heat of neutralization. So kalau heat of neutralization, kalau let's say ada dalam keadaan dia ada calorimeter, so you tahulah heat of neutralization is equals to heat of the release by direction by kandungan of mole of water. Tapi soalan nak suruh kamu cari final temperature. So you can find the final temperature. Actually you can find the final temperature from the heat of reaction. Okay, so nak cari heat of reaction pula, you kena lah buat heat of reaction is equals to heat absorbed by the surrounding. Since that you are using a simple calorimeter here, so it's gonna be QC plus QW. Lepas tu from the formula nanti you dapat delta T, baru you dapat final temperature. So this is the solution. Di mana you cari dulu you punya heat release by direction. Okay, melalui information on the heat of neutralization and number of mole of water. Nasib baik number of mole of acid dengan base yang sama. So bolehlah you assume number of mole of water pun sama. Okay, tapi janganlah tinggal kat sini je. You kena show that you dapat number of mole of water melalui this stoichiometric coefficient. So after that, bila you dah dapat heat release by direction, you relate lah heat release by direction is equals to heat absorbed by the surrounding. In this case, surrounding dia adalah QC and also QS or Q water. Okay, as usual, you kena assume yang specific capacity of solution is equals to specific capacity of water. Density of solution is equals to density of water. Lepas tu bila in calculation ni, you buanglah the negative sign. Takkanlah nanti dapat temperature negative. So buanglah the negative sign. Sebab negative sign tu just nak tunjukkan yang heat tu is released. Okay, so in this case bila you nak masuk in calculation, you buang the negative sign here so that you akan dapat perbezaan temperature dia apa. Sebab perbezaan temperature takkanlah in negative pula kan. Lepas tu final temperature ni you guna daripada information given, and after that you jumpalah final temperature dia apa. Lastly, you bolehlah test yourself by doing this question. Okay, so all the best and good luck in applying apa yang Miss ajar dekat dalam soalan tutorial. Okay.